Got some dirty pans. I'm going to teach you the proper way to restore cast iron and cold handle Cowboy pans, tin pans, pressed tin. These are not cast iron. A lot of people call these cast iron. They're tin. This is cast iron. It's got the weight to it. These are a lot lighter. Either way, clean them both the same way. This is the proper way. I don't want to see any power tools in these. You don't throw them in a fire and bake them. You don't put them in self-cleaning ovens. Power tools are going to heat up certain areas, make it warp as well, scratch the hell out of them. This is the way to do it. Electrolysis tank. I'm going to walk you through the process. We're going to clean some pans. I got a ton of them here I've been picking up. I need to restore, and you'll see the whole process and learn something. Stick around. Okay, so what I use, you could use a rubber tote, 5-gallon pail, depends how much you're going to clean. But what I got is a 55-gallon plastic, it's got to be plastic, drum. Cut the lid off. There's holes drilled throughout 4 sides with bolts through, and they're silicone so they're not going to leak, or rubber washered. And then you use a good copper wire and you're attaching all these points, so electrical current is going to go through this wire. It's going to go even all the way through. On the inside, you want scrap metal. These are stainless steel plates off of fenders off of a tractor trailer. Whatever you can find. Iron works good. Stainless is great because it doesn't get rusty. It will get this discoloring, and some oven cleaner will take that off and it will restore them so that you get a good cook again. But these will go a long time without having to clean them. I've been using this barrel for years now. So basically you just fill it up with water, regular water, and I'm going to go above these lines up to this level. It doesn't have to go all the way to the top, but I'm going to go that level with the water, and I'm going to put a secret ingredient in, and I'll show you what's next, so stick around. Other than the wire around the barrel and your scrap plates mounted inside the barrel with the bolts going through, what you need is some good heavy gauge wire, something that's kind of rigid, has some rigidity to it, because you're going to want the strength there to hold the weight of the cast iron pans. A piece of steel here, it could be angle iron, whatever you can find, scrap iron, a long straight piece. This is some old threaded rod, and what I did is I twisted this wire, made twisted pieces, tied it tight around here, twisted tight, it's firm, put some loops in the end. In my barrel I have a couple notches where that's going to sit right there. It's never going to roll out or fall. And what you want to do is you hang your pans on these. You can crimp them over if you want, bend them, and it's going to drop down inside the water. You want that water level above the handle of your pan. So however long you make these is going to depend on your water level. I got about another 5-6 inches of water to go. And on a side note, I don't refill this every time I use it. I will use it, cover it up with a piece of plywood, leave it out here outside. A week later, a month later, whatever, I'll use it again, as long as the water isn't too cruddy. Because all you're doing is you're using it to cook everything off, then you'll wash it with regular dish soap and stuff inside the house. This is just to strip the pan to restore. So I have a setup with a big bucket. I can do 2 pans at once. I can put one here, one here. I can lay a long pan like a flat griddle across both of them, whatever it takes. I've actually done 3 small pans, or even 4 small pans in one barrel and one clean at one time. Sometimes I do 1, 2, 3, 4. It all depends what you got and what you need to get done. So the secret ingredient is Arm & Hammer Laundry Booster Super Washing Soda. This is the stuff you want. You don't want baking soda. This is sodium carbonate. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It's not going to work. You want sodium carbonate. You want to open it up. Wicked. And I'm about ready with the water here. Throw that aside for now. Just dump it in. For 55 gallons, I use a whole box. Of course, if you're using a smaller tub, use accordingly. You know, half this barrel, I use half a box, and so on. You'll know if it's not doing what it does bubbling up, and I'll show you that in a minute, and you'll know to add more. So that's the secret stuff. Okay, drop these 2 pans in. Now it's important that you hang them so they're not going to touch the metal plates that are bolted to the barrel. You want them separate. It doesn't matter how far apart they are. You just want to make sure that they're not going to hit them. They can touch each other, preferably not, but it doesn't matter if they do. And just hang them so they're kind of centered away from those plates. Next thing you gotta do is battery charger. Old school battery charger. Okay, you don't want one of the new computerized ones that won't charge a battery unless it has juice in it. You want the ones that, when you tap these together, it shoots a spark. Hit a garage sale if you don't have an old one, because it's hard to buy the old style. Everything's like computerized or safety measures. Positive one, very important, goes on this bolt that I have protruding out that's connected to the wire, which is connected to the plates. So your positive juice is going to be energized on those plates on the inside. Throw your juice on, 12 volt, negative, it sparks, that's it. We're electrolysis, we're doing it. In a couple minutes, not even 30 seconds, you're going to start seeing some movement in there. The bubbles are going to start coming up. It's going to be bubbles moving around the pans, and that's going to get underneath the grease, the gunk, the years of buildup, the rust, and it's going to lift it away, and you're going to end up with clean pans. Now, how long do you do it? It depends how bad they are. Depends how many volts your charger's putting out, a lot of things. Best thing you do is, until you get used to it, check it every couple hours, see what it looks like. A paint scraper, if you got some real thick stuff on there starting to loose up, scrape a little bit off, put it back in, and just keep going. And I'll show you how some of that crud is lifting off of those pans. I'll let this go for an hour, 2 hours. I already see some grease forming up on top that's coming off of the pans that was cooked in them, so it's definitely working. This is the next day. Had a little bit of weather, rain rolled in, so I unhooked everything, took the pans out for the night, covered up the barrel. If you do pause, take the pans out of the water, don't leave them in it. Let's see how they look. Probably about three and a half hours total between yesterday and today. I scuffed them about an hour ago with just a light Brillo to bring off the loose stuff that was hanging, but already you could see that it's peeled all the heavy stuff away. There's a light film of rust on some of it, stuff that'll come off with a Brillo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them back in for about another hour. There's some black spots there, still some grease lifting off, but about another hour and they'll be ready probably to come out and wash inside with regular dish soap and scrub them with a steel wool a little bit just to get the fine stuff off, and then I'll season them in the oven and they will be done. You see the bubbles coming up? It's working. Just take a sneak peek. Whoa, look at that. Looks like they're ready. I'll do a nice steel wool in the sink in the house and heat them up a little bit, coat them with a little Crisco. The cold handle I'll do on top of the stove with a light oil. The cast iron I like to do in the oven to season at high heat, and I'll do several coats on both of them, and I'll show you what they look like when they're complete. So before I show you the finished product of the first 2 pans I did, while I was seasoning and scrubbing them up and seasoning them in the oven inside the house, I threw 2 pans in here, a number 8 and a number 9 Griswold, that were loaded with grease. I just want to show you what these look like. They've been in here for about an hour, but see how that's peeling right off? Years and years of seasoning and grease and loaded crud and crap on there. It's just peeling off. But that's how, when they're not rusty and they're just full of grease, that's how they're coming. So just wanted you to take a look at that. Let's take a look at those other pans now. There's the final product. The two pans I started with. This is the cold handle pan. Perfect restore. I'll take note, doing these with grinders, throwing them in the fire, not only heats up the steel, warps things, makes things weak, but you're not going to get the crud out from inside this cold handle. That's hollow. That's what makes it cold handle. So you're going to have 50 years old of somebody else's food in there that heats up and drips down to your food. I don't like that. Number 10, Wagner. Came out phenomenal. That was seasoned 3 times in the oven, and that's ready to go. Now, this cold handle, I got a few, exact same size, same model, everything. This is a 11 and a half inch, I believe. I'll have to measure it again, but it's a national. It's a big boy pan. I'm putting this on my Etsy store. I'll drop a link down below if you're looking for a good cold handle pan, freshly restored, ready to go. There it is. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.